All right, it's been like a week since the draft wrapped up. A lot of people didn't care for my take on our first round pick, which not unexpected. Um, I was pretty negative about it in that initial reaction video. I wanted to give it some time to digest before I followed up with anything. But yeah, people didn't really like my initial take on the pick because I was kind of negative about it, and a lot of people weren't. So I want to talk about that. I want to clarify a few things. Again, the Seahawks took Rashaad Penny with their first pick in the 2018 draft, a late first round pick, the 27th overall, a running back out of, I think, San Diego State. And when the pick happened, I had a camera on me and I didn't like it very much. And that video got a lot of hits. It did not get a lot of positive feedback in my comments or my thumbs up, thumbs down ratio thingy. But guys, I want to clarify a few things about that because I want to be clear. I am not hating on the player. Rashaad Penny was a dominant running back in college football. The last 2 years, he was unstoppable. He averaged 7.5 yards a carry, scoring touchdowns left and right. He's clearly not a bad player. He's got NFL running back skills. He has a little bit of talent catching the ball, although I would have preferred a little bit more. Obviously, when you're carrying the ball as much as a guy like Rashaad Penny is, there's not a lot of room to catch passes, so maybe he does have that talent. We just haven't seen it in football yet. But I'm not hating on the player. He's obviously good. You can watch his highlights, you can look at his stats, and you can figure all that out. And I'll say this much. I'll even go this far for Rashaad Penny. He is a guy who could immediately contribute to this team. He could start next year easily. All he's got to do is beat out Chris Carson, who broke his leg, Mike Davis, who is a career journeyman who played pretty well last year, and CJ Prosise, who we all know is going to get hurt again. We all know that. Come on, guys. Rashaad Penny could start next year. He could touch the ball 300 times on offense next year. He could easily have a 1,200-yard season from offensive scrimmage. 1,200 offensive yards, easy. So there is a bright side here with this pick. I'm not saying it's all bad. I'll even say this much. I kind of like that we're going to give our offensive linemen a chance. I had a couple comments on my videos saying, Rashaad Penny is not going to do anything behind this offensive line. I see where that's coming from, but I don't hate saying our offensive linemen need a chance under Mike Solari to show what they can do because they've been under Tom Cable for the last several years now, and he seemed like he was a problem for their growth and development. So I kind of like that the front office seems to be willing to give our offensive linemen a chance. And they're saying that we have a running back problem, not an offensive line problem. All that said, the reason why I don't like this pick, it has nothing to do with the player. It has nothing to do with what he's probably going to do for us immediately. None of that. More than any other position in the NFL, you can find running backs, guys. You can occasionally do it at any position. I mean, Tom Brady was a 6th-round pick. Russell Wilson was a 3rd-round pick. Jeff Garcia was undrafted. I get that. I understand all of that. But more than any other position, you can find running backs, especially when you have an effective offensive machine. You can find guys who can contribute for you anywhere. Dion Lewis was an undrafted rookie free agent. He was just floating around in free agency. Nobody even knew who he was. The Patriots pick him up and turn him into a big-time contributor. Guys like DeMarco Murray were a 3rd-round pick. Yes, obviously guys like, Ezekiel Elliott, they go 4th overall, and they're immediately one of the best running backs in the league. But, guys, you can find running backs. Not always, but you can find competent running backs later in the draft. You can find them not in the draft, undrafted free agency. You can find them floating around in free agency. If your offense works, it is not hard to find competent running back play. And if you're going to say that Rashaad Penny is going to be better than competent running back play by a little bit, I don't know if that's worth the draft expenditure. I don't know. I would rather have spent a 4th-round pick on a running back who's a little bit worse than Rashaad Penny and spent the 1st-round pick on somebody who's actually significantly better than somebody you get later in the draft, like other positions where the difference in talent and the abundance of talent out there is a lot less, like, say, cornerback or defensive end. I feel like at those positions, the difference in ability that you find as you move further down the draft is much bigger than running back. Especially, and this is important, guys, we have a superstar quarterback, and I'm hard on him. Some people are hard on him too. I'm critical of some of the things that he did last year, even though he, set a record for 4th-quarter touchdown passes. I don't care. I was critical of him because he deserved it. If you have a superstar quarterback, you should be building around his ability to run the offense. And if you have that superstar quarterback, which we are supposed to have, we are paying him like a superstar quarterback. And next year, we are probably going to be paying him even more like a superstar quarterback. You should be able to use that to your advantage by getting lesser talented, lesser paid, less highly drafted running backs, plug them in behind your superstar quarterback, and still get good production, because defenses are going to be so focused on stopping your quarterback that a lesser running back can produce in your system. We don't have Dak Prescott, who is, an average quarterback who, benefits because defenses are thinking about Ezekiel Elliott. We don't have Blake Bortles, an average quarterback, who, the Jaguars decided they were going to go spend the 4th overall pick on a Leonard Fournette because they wanted to protect their mediocre quarterback. We have a star quarterback, or we're supposed to. And because of that, I don't know about spending these 1st-round picks on running backs. That's my thing, guys. The offense should be built around Russell Wilson and his ability to run the offense. We should not be spending these really high draft picks on a running back when we already are putting all this money into quarterback. That's how I feel. If we had a mediocre quarterback or a slightly above average quarterback, fine. He needs help. He needs the protection of a good, talented running back. But honestly, if we were going to take a skill position offensive player in the 1st round, I would have rather taken a wide receiver, because you can find running backs. I mean, we could have rolled this year with Mike Davis, Chris Carson, whatever we get out of CJ Prosise, and whatever low-round pick running back we ended up getting. We could have rolled with that, in my opinion. And we could have gotten a wide receiver, because right now we got Doug Baldwin, who's, top 10 receiver in the league. But Tyler Lockett, we don't know what he's going to be this year, because he broke his leg 2 years ago and he was not very good last year. We have Jerron Brown, the guy we signed from Arizona, and it gets thin really, really fast, guys. It gets thin. And we have nothing at tight end. We have Nick Vannett, and now we have Will Dissly. So we have nothing at tight end that we know of. I think Nick Vannett has 1 career touchdown, and Will Dissly has never played in the NFL now. So I would have rather built around wide receiver in this draft than running back, honestly. But that's my take. That's what I wanted to get out there. That's what I wanted to express, because I have nothing bad to say about Rashaad Penny, the player. He seems like a great player. And if he produces, 1,200 offensive yards in his rookie year, which he very easily could do, I'm not going to be saying anything bad about the guy. I'm not going to be saying anything bad about the pick, really, but you can get running backs, guys. You really can. Okay, so I didn't love the first pick we made. Let's run down the rest of the draft. I was out on draft day, so I wasn't able to do live reactions to the picks. But the good news is I liked everything else we did. Rasheem Green, defensive end, plays like Michael Bennett. Perfect. We just lost to Michael Bennett. We need a new Michael Bennett. We needed help at that position, guys. I mean, Cliff Averill has probably never, he's probably retired now. He's probably never going to play football again. Frank Clark is a beast. We've got something with Deion Jordan, I think, but we needed help here. And Rasheem Green represents a guy who could contribute immediately from day one at defensive end, and I love this pick. Round 4, Will Dissly, local boy, Washington tight end. Kind of excited about that. He's a blocking tight end, and a lot of people were down on this pick because why are we spending a 4th-round pick on a blocking tight end? I get it. I think we're going to run the ball a lot this year, and I'm not crazy about it, but if we are going to run the ball a lot this year, a guy like Will Dissly is going to be a help. Not much of a pass catcher, which I don't know what we're going to do at tight end this year, guys. We got Nick Vannett, another guy who I think is kind of a blocking tight end. I don't like his offensive pass catching skill set. But I'm okay with this pick. Round 5. Here was the highlight of the motherfucking draft. Shaquem Griffin, linebacker, one hand and all. The strong bad right hand thing. He's a Seahawk. He's playing with his twin brother. It's awesome. He might only play special teams. He might barely play at all. I don't care. This was fun. Maybe he wasn't perfect value in the 5th round when you're talking about a guy who is, physically limited, but this was awesome, guys. I am excited about Shaquem Griffin being in Seattle. I am so happy he gets to play with his twin brother. This is awesome. It was awesome to see him brought in. I hope he makes the team. I hope he plays. I hope he plays plenty because there have been a lot of things about this team that have been depressing over the last couple months. This was fun. I liked this. Trey Flowers, also in the 5th round, just a few picks later. I like the cornerback depth idea. I like Pete Carroll getting to pick cornerbacks. I like Pete Carroll going after cornerbacks later in the draft. He's proven very good at that. And we need the help, guys. I mean, right now we got Shaquille Griffin, we got Byron Maxwell, and then we're down to guys like Nico Thorpe. We need cornerback contributors. And if anybody can produce a 5th-round pick who starts as a rookie in the NFL, it is Pete Carroll. Michael Dixon, punter. Thank the Lord. John Ryan, I am sorry, but he is washed. I hate to say it because he's one of my favorite players, but he doesn't have it anymore, guys. He had a dead leg last year, and he had to punt a lot. I understand. He was probably exhausted from all the punting he had to do, but we need to get younger at the special teams positions. John Ryan probably on his last legs. He might have already used up his last legs, honestly. So we got the best punter in college football last year. That dude is money. I like it. I really, really like this one. And then one more pick in the 5th round, Jamarco Jones. Look, the offensive line is still questionable enough to where we can improve our personnel there. I think that our personnel will benefit from being coached by Mike Solari, but it cannot hurt to bring in some depth. And then we had Jacob Martin and Alex McGow, defensive end and quarterback. I don't know too much about these guys. I like getting the defensive end depth, and we desperately need a backup quarterback now that Trayvon Boykin and I think Austin Davis is out of the picture too, but we needed to get better there. So I really did like the rest of the draft. Maybe Will Dissly's a little questionable, but even that, I can see why it might work. I just expressed exactly why I'm not crazy about the Rashaad Penny thing, but this was a pretty good draft class, I think. We're not getting graded well at all. That doesn't bother me. I think it's fair that we're not being graded well on the Rashaad Penny draft pick, but I see a lot of guys who can contribute as rookies. I really do. I think Penny is obviously going to. Green, Dissly's at least going to play. Michael Dixon could play all 16 games easily. It's not so bad, guys. All right, that's my take on the Seahawks 2018 draft. I'm happy about most of it. I have some questions, but I wanted to clarify some of my takes. All right, I'll see you guys later. Peace out.